And a good morning to you, the Daybreak show here, as we welcome in Dick Taylor and Wendy Smith for our Port of Call segment. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good to see you on a start to be a nice day.
Yeah, we're starting to get a Chamber of Commerce day
That's
here.
exactly right. We've got a lot of great news happening around the port. You guys had your traditional meetings and things like that. What you guys talk about?
Well, we had a couple leases come up for renewal. One was the Sims Vibration, and the other was DNR. So we approved those.
What's the DNR one?
They have an office space up
okay.
in the same building that the conservation district's in.
Sure. For
shared space. They've been there a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a long-time client.
That's great.
5-year lease.
It's great to keep those folks around, little stability for them and for you
Yep.
as you look forward. What else is going on?
So we attended the dock party.
Yeah, went down to the
ribbon
cutting
for
for the marina.
How was it for you? A little bittersweet, maybe, or kind of a
Yeah.
nice
Well,
passing
yeah,
of the torch?
It's
or?
kind of a passing of the torch, and they've got different, they have plans to do things differently than we could do.
Yeah, for sure.
And glad to see it.
What were some? We talked last week about it and met the some of the mains there on the board. But what were some of your limitations of being perhaps maybe because you're a governmental agency, or you have voters that kind of dictate a little bit about what's going on there? What were some of those constraints that the current owners now don't have?
Well, for one, I would say the biggest is just, replacing a dock that serves, recreational boaters.
Sure.
That's hard to sell to your taxpayers.
Right.
Our taxpayers were pretty silent on this ordeal, but I think they were silent because they knew that it was going to come out the way it did.
Yeah.
When we did our community forums, we related, $3.2 million was our bid for the one dock
Sure.
that serves 50 people, and not all of which live in the Port District. Very few actually do.
Yeah,
So
1/3 of them.
it was that versus, the same price building, a 22,000 square foot building and having, maybe 50, 100 jobs, so it was just that, I think that was one hinder.
Well, and then when we contract for something, the labor costs have to be paid at prevailing wages by law. They don't.
Yeah.
They're a private entity, so they
Yep.
can contract, and they can get things cheaper that way.
Sure.
And they have a lot of members that have, hands-on
And they can
experience.
do it themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, just I think a lot of, just the permitting process itself. That was just one, as you know, of our properties.
Yeah.
One out of 3, and so when you have a pretty limited staff and time and then to go through those processes, it's not only expensive, it's very time consuming. So yeah, I think it's really good, and it was great to see. It was a great turnout yesterday, and we were just kind of among the background. We weren't
Yeah, we
involved
didn't
at
have to
all.
do anything.
Yeah. That's
But it
nice.
was fantastic and fun to see the people. Somebody said, well, do you miss this place? I said, I do. I miss all your faces,
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it looks really great down there. So,
Cool.
It was a beautiful
Yeah.
day.
Excited to see how that moves forward.
It came out great.
Saw some postings yesterday as we move kind of back to the 2 properties now for the port, Johns Prairie and Sanderson Field. I saw something online that folks are already looking at this upcoming Oyster Fest, and that
coming around.
is just
That's
one
right.
of the things that is used there by the runway there. What are some of the other things now that you're able to focus on those 2 properties that you're thinking about, possible upgrades or changes that?
Well, first I wanted to give an update to our largest project occurring this summer, which is the pavement overlay on the runway. We had solicited the FAA to allow use of the taxiway while that's under construction because, for instance, Kapowsin, our largest user,
Sure.
It really impacts their business in mid-August. That's probably their highest time. So we've solicited not only for them, but for the GA traffic as well, and just visitors. And we weren't sure how that would go. A lot of times pilots, they'll use it anyway, but if it's marked and it's safe, it's a lot better. We got word, unofficial at this point, but from the FAA yesterday, they were talking to our engineer, and it sounds like they're pretty willing. And so we actually got our tree guy in, and we're having to, because there's obstructions that are, going to cause some, some
Could cause some.
Yeah, it could cause some trouble, and so we need to work on that. And we had already decided yesterday morning, before we even got that news, that we were gonna, do that anyway, take down those trees, because if people do use it, we want it to be safe.
Sure.
So there's some too tall for the approach to that taxiway. So just a few things, and so we had Joe Staley come out, and he's been our tree guy for the over the years. He consults with us on our management of the trees, and so he came out right out. so that's really good news. I mean, that's going to be a huge improvement to that project while the runway's closed for the time it's having
It'll be
construction.
about a month.
It'll be about a month in total, and that'll just allow the contractors to do all their things at once, too, rather than staging the closure and having one end open and one, there's just more risks there. So if this transpires, that's a really big win for our community and our tenants.
And in a month's time, what is the kind of takeoff and landing numbers you think there? I mean, Capalson's multiple times a day.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good question. I don't actually know, but I know that when the sun's out, it's a lot better traffic count. So Capalson, I mean, they come down, and as soon as they're down, they pick up a new crew and, head back up. So, they do as many as they can get in the daylight, I think. So, yeah.
And then John's Prairie, how are things looking? Last time, 2 times ago, you guys were in and talked about a new lease agreement with a pyrotechnics company. And anything else that you've got your eyes on? Maybe you can't really announce it, but you've got some feelers out there. Some folks have been contacting you a little bit. Yeah,
we're still working on the 30 East Export. We got the curb money for that. The project's finished. We're working on, and we have potential actual expansion look ahead and some new tenants looking at that. So there's definitely interest out in that area. And then of course Pyro Spectacular, they're doing a bunch of work to get their site ready for storage. We've got some lease changeover on another property out there that another company's coming in and taking over for a cannabis company. So that's in the works. So there's quite a bit happening. It seems like everywhere we go, we're busy. So,
nothing exciting and spectacular, but it's a steady flow.
Good. Very cool.
Yep.
The Port of Call, presented by the Port of Shelton, is weekly here at this time with Dick Taylor and Wendy Smith. Always good to talk with you guys.
Good to be here.
And keep bringing that good news here.